Michel, thank you for joining us.
No, thank you so much, Matt, for having us.
So what brings you to ICEO 2016?
Well, I'm here as the Minister of Energy for Nova Scotia, leading our delegation. Nova Scotia has been a bit of a leader in the development of the tidal industry, and we wanted to come here to show our support for the industry. Having the Minister here, I think, sends a strong message. But at the same time, we've been having multiple meetings with partners that are interested in Nova Scotia, new companies that are looking at Nova Scotia, and other groups that want to partner with our province. And it's been a great convention up till now, and we're looking forward to some very positive results.
What is the current environment for wave and tidal in Nova Scotia?
We've done quite a bit of work in Nova Scotia. In fact, a number of years ago, we first started with developing a marine energy strategy. The whole idea was to be able to reach out to all the stakeholder groups and find out exactly how they wanted to see the energy develop using our tidal industry, and where was the appropriate place to put it, any concerns that there was with that. We followed that up after that by establishing legislation. In fact, we were able to pass a bill last year, Marine Renewable Energy Act, which is the first of its kind in North America. And it was a way of being able to tell the industry, here's what the rules of the game are. Here's what you have to expect when you come to Nova Scotia. Here's what the population expects. And to give that certainty to the industry that the rules of the game are not going to change. They're clearly laid out. And we've also made some strategic investments in our fourth site at the Bay of Fundy, where we've been able to put in a subsea cable to the 5 berth holders, and as well build a substation and upgrade the grid. So that's basically a turnkey operation at this point once they're ready to deploy their turbines.
That's a big commitment.
Absolutely. But I think we're very strategic in the sense of, rather than providing government funding to private industry, which has always been a great concern in our province and in our country, many of those investments have not always been successful. In this case, we put the infrastructure in place. So monies did not go to any specific companies, but we wanted to create an environment where we're able to tell businesses that are interested in tidal, here are 5 specific zones where you can put your turbines in. We are going to put the infrastructure in place that once you've put in your base, you've put in your turbine, you can connect, the substation's been built, the grid has been upgraded to be able to handle that energy. So it's almost a turnkey type operation that is waiting for them there. And we think for our residents, that's the type of investments government should be making.
So what are your long-term ambitions?
Well, what we've done, and Nova Scotia for years was heavily dependent on coal. We had coal mines in Cape Breton, and we were using the coal from there to provide our electricity. Over the years, with the closure of those coal mines, Nova Scotians, like so many others throughout the world, have come to realization that burning coal is certainly very detrimental with greenhouse gases and the effect it has on the environment. So we've been quite aggressive through successive governments at establishing targets towards renewable energy. We've met our 20% target on renewables in 2015, and we're on track to meet our 40% target by 2020, which has been quite aggressive targets, and we're very proud of. In doing that, we've been working very closely with our wind energy. We created a feed-in tariff program which encouraged developers to build wind energy, knowing there'd be a fixed rate paid for a 20-year period. We did the same approach on the marine side. The marine side is much more expensive. We recognize that. So we have to be careful in how much we could approve. So as we speak today, we have 22 megawatts of electricity that's been approved for that site with a guaranteed rate that is approximately 53 cents per kilowatt hour, which is much more expensive than what we would pay to our traditional means of producing electricity. But we recognize that to get the industry going, to make this a success, there's significant capital that has to be invested up front. And so this is a way of encouraging the industry to get on its feet and to grow from there.
That's very progressive thinking.
It is progressive, and the fact is that the Bay of Fundy is just a remarkable bay. There's approximately 160 billion liters of water that flow in and out of that bay 4 times a day. So it's just a remarkable resource, and it's a natural resource. It's predictable. There's no cost to that resource. So we've identified areas where we are starting, but our whole plan is to see that industry grow to the point that we could be producing over 300 megawatts of power, if not more. And in doing so, we realize that the next step for us will be to look at how do we export that power, because that will clearly be more power than we could consume in Nova Scotia or even in the Maritimes if the industry grows the way we hope to see it grow.
So where will that position you globally?
Well, right now, the fact that we expect that DCNS and Open Hydro, in partnership with Emera, which is the parent company of Nova Scotia Power, they're scheduled right now to deploy two 2-megawatt turbines in this spring. So they will be in the water. It'll probably be the two biggest turbines in the water in the world to start off with. So we think it certainly puts us in a leadership position. We know of at least one more company that is hoping to be able to deploy their turbine by the spring of 2017, and others are expressing interest of starting to ramp up. So there is a bit of excitement. The other big thing I should point out is that of those two turbines that are being built by DCNS and Open Hydro, they're 16 meters in width, and they're being built in Nova Scotia. So we have an old shipyard that basically was down to approximately 40 workers that now has 180 employees. And so they are building them on site. They had to purpose-build a barge, which they will then take, put one turbine on at a time on the barge, take it all around over to the site, and then do that a second time. And so they will now have that barge available for further turbines. So we know the world is watching, and that's why we want to make sure that we get this right. Legislation, having a strategy in place, putting the infrastructure in place, and creating the environment where this can grow. Because we don't only want to see this be a success in Nova Scotia, we think this can be a success around the world. Our goal is to make sure that we get the maximum value out of the infrastructure, and as well be able to use the expertise to go around the world with our companies to be able to share that expertise and to be able to create economic opportunities for us.
So there are far wider reaching benefits.
Absolutely. It's not just a matter of having renewable energy through Tidal. It's a matter of how much of the value chain can we develop in our region, how much of the work on the turbines, from the engineering to the actual construction, can be done in Nova Scotia to create economic opportunities, and then the benefits of having this renewable source of energy are all factors that are of importance to us. And again, it's how can we get that expertise amongst our companies, amongst our workforce, that will not only be available to us in Nova Scotia, but will allow them to be able to go in other jurisdictions and to be able to obtain work there as well.
So what does the future hold?
I think the future is great. The only issue we have is, have the companies been able to properly figure out Mother Nature? Because the Bay of Fundy is powerful and can be cruel at the same time, and technology's tried in the past. Mother Nature had different plans for it. So it is still a growing industry. We're cautious when we speak about it in Nova Scotia, knowing that there could still be some challenges along the way. We're very excited to promote it, but at the same time, we realize there are risks. Anytime you're putting this size infrastructure underwater and then waiting to see what's going to happen with it, one has to be patient. And I think that's the big thing here, is that this industry is still growing. It's still a bit in its infancy, and we have to be prepared to support the good and the challenges that will come along with it. But we think we've established that framework. I know that there's a level of excitement in our province, and the big thing as well is that by coming to this conference, the message for us is, how can we share our experience, how can we learn from the experience of others, and how can we create more collaboration with jurisdictions all over the world to make this a success.
Well, we'll watch with great interest.
Thanks so much, Matt.
Thank you very much.